Is it? Where's it been then, this much loved picture?
I think it was in an old barn or a farm building for about 30 years. And then my father, he bought it about 20 years ago. I think it was a house sale for a few pounds. It wasn't expensive.
What did he think about it?
He liked it, but we didn't know how to get it restored.
Right.
So it just got left. I've always assumed it was Waterhouse.
Do you know about Waterhouse?
I've seen an Antiques Roadshow before, and there was a painting on there by the same artist, and that's why I bought this today.
John William Waterhouse is one of the most recognisable names in British art, the painter of the Lady of Shalott and Hylas and the Nymphs, elected a full Royal Academician in 1895, his dreamlike women from myth and poetry now hanging in the Tate and in galleries around the world. But every famous painter has a beginning, and the Waterhouse of the early 1870s looked nothing like the master of those later canvases. He was still searching for his subject, working through small, experimental pictures years before the literary heroines that made his name. That is exactly what makes an early, untypical piece so difficult to place, and so easy to lose in a box of odds and ends. Everything here turns on the hand, not the fame, and a canvas the trade accepts as a genuine early Waterhouse, cleaned and restored, belongs to a completely different world from a grimy one nobody has yet vouched for.
It's in rotten condition, but this can be put right, although I think that will be difficult to clean. This I'm not worried about, but the dirt is quite ingrained into that impasto there. I think between £5,000 and £10,000. £5,000 or £6,000.
Shock. I am shocked, I am. I thought about £500. I was so worried about the rip.
Well, it's pretty nasty. That is horrid, you know, and that's needs a lot of work doing, and so does this. But I didn't see why, you know, finished and all done up, somebody might ask £20,000 for it or something.
So it's worth for me to take it and have it restored.
I think so, yes.
Now, the sight of a box like this often heralds the fact that it contains something by Fabergé. And when we open it up like this, we can see that it's certainly Russian, but not necessarily by Fabergé. It's by another maker. You tell me about it.
Well, I'm surprised you said Russian, actually, because I inherited it from my mother-in-law, and her father, I understand, bought it when the Romanian royal family had to sell all their jewels and they were no longer becoming royal and they were sent out to Romania. So I suppose I sort of thought that writing on the box was Romanian.
Well, it's certainly in Cyrillic, and actually I think what it does say is that it's retailed by a jeweller called Maucanar, and then underneath of Odessa. And I think we can be absolutely sure that this is contemporary with Fabergé, not only from the style of the box, but also from the style of the ring. It's made of platinum and gold and little calibre rubies, very bright little rubies.
To judge a ring like this, you look past the diamond to the way it was built. The turn of the 20th century was the moment platinum, stronger and whiter than gold, transformed fine jewellery, letting a setting almost vanish so the stone seemed to float. The little rubies ringed around the centre are caliber cut, each one shaped by hand to sit flush in its channel, painstaking, costly work that marks out the best Belle Epoque workshops. This was the age of Fabergé, Peter Carl Fabergé, goldsmith to the Russian imperial court and maker of the jewelled Easter eggs for the last of the Romanov Tsars. A substantial old-cut diamond framed in platinum, out of that world and that moment, is never valued by the stone alone.
And obviously very contemporary and wearable, because there you have it.
It is.
So that's all going to add up like mad, isn't it? Have you ever thought what it might add up to?
Well, I have had insurance valuation probably about 12 years ago now, so I don't know whether it's up to
I'm
date.
going to sort of make a stab at it, and I can't see much hope of buying a Russian ring like that really for much less than about £7,000, £8,000, £9,000.
Well, that's very reassuring, I think, so thank you very much, apart from anything else.
Good. Well, it's been a great pleasure to see it, and I think you wear it very well.
You've watched hundreds of these moments. The ordinary object. The jaw-dropping value. But here's the question we never ask: what's sitting in your home? You don't have to wait for the roadshow to come to your town. In seconds, Velco tells you what it is, when it was made, and what it could be worth. It's like having the roadshow in your pocket. Open the App Store and search Velco. VELQO. Or point your phone at the screen. You might be sitting on a fortune.
This is the mother of all jewel caskets, isn't it? How did it come to you?
It was given to my husband and me by an aunt about 13 years ago. She wanted to give it to us before she died, which was really rather nice. So we're able to thank her for it.
Lovely. Now tell me, what do you know about it?
Well, I know it's a Tiffany casket, and I know it says New York inside.
Right, good. Well, let's talk a little bit more about what it's made of. It may say Tiffany New York in it, but what's almost certain is it wasn't made anywhere near New York.
Tiffany and Company was founded in New York in 1837, and by the end of the century its name promised the finest of everything, but the firm did not make everything it sold. Louis Comfort Tiffany, the founder's son and a genius of stained glass, travelled through Europe buying the most beautiful objects he could find to carry home to Fifth Avenue. A casket like this is French to its core. Its decoration is champleave, an enamelling tradition perfected by French goldsmiths, where the pattern is carved into the body of the metal itself rather than penned out in the solid wires of cloisonné. So the New York signature is a shop's, not a workshop's, and a French enamel casket good enough for Tiffany to put its own name to is a rare and desirable thing.
And that in a specialist sale in New York, preferably taking place in somewhere like Fifth Avenue or York Avenue, so that people didn't have to walk terribly far, that this would be a dazzling success. It would be going home, and I think possibly that it could go as high as £8,000 to £10,000.
Yes.
On line with what you thought?
Slightly more, but I did realise that it was of considerable value.
Good.
And I'm very pleased.
It weighs a ton.
Yeah.
Do you know, when I walked into the room earlier on, saw this picture, I immediately said Charles Pears. And the reason I said Charles Pears was because of this distinctive treatment of the sea. I don't know any other artist that actually treats the sea like this, with this sort of cross-hatching of grey on green and blue. It's the most wonderful interpretation. It shows a French bark backing off, as it were, having discovered Beachy Head in fog. Now, can you tell me something about your ownership of it?
It was purchased by my father at an exhibition in 1937.
Right.
And I understand he paid about £150 for it at the time.
It's quite a bit of money, actually, wasn't it?
It almost brought a small fracas in the family because my mother thought it was rather an excessive purchase in those days.
Charles Pears made his name painting the sea in every mood. Born in 1873, he became one of Britain's foremost marine artists, an official war artist to the Admiralty in both World Wars, and the founding president of the Society of Marine Artists when it was formed in 1939. Before all that, he was one of the poster men of the golden age of travel, his ships and coastlines pasted across the London Underground and the great railway companies to sell the romance of the journey. That poster eye is right here in the picture, the drama of a bark running before the weather, the chalk mass of Beachy Head looming out of the fog. A collector buying a Pears is buying a genuine maritime pedigree, not merely a handsome seascape, and it is precisely that pedigree that carries a signed Pears oil into for figures at auction.
I think it's just over £1,000.
Well, you'll have to multiply that figure by a fair number today. Today, it's worth at auction in the region of around £8,000 to £12,000. And for insurance, you'd need to increase your insurance figure to something like £15,000, £16,000.
It's a lot more than I thought it was.
What a splendid album, full of splendid drawings, if I may say, by the artist Alfred Bastien, a Belgian painter. Tell me something of how you came by them.
We found them in the attic of an elderly relative. She died in 1988.
Yes.
And we had to empty the house.
Yes.
And these were wrapped up in a piece of paper. We knew nothing about the artist or her friendship, just that the notes that were with it indicated there was a friendship.
Right. Well, it's quite a discovery, actually.
Alfred Bastien was a Belgian painter who lived through the century that made and unmade Europe, and painted it. His masterpiece is enormous, the Panorama of the Year, a vast circular painting of the First World War battle that held the last corner of Belgium, over 100 meters around. He was a war artist who sketched at the front, a traveler who carried his sketchbook as far as the Belgian Congo, and a landscapist with a quick, light touch. Those airy little scenes invite comparison with Eugène Boudin, the painter who first taught a young Monet to work out of doors, and that is high company indeed. And this is not a single drawing but an album of roughly 160, spanning decades of a working life. One sheet is a keepsake, a bound archive of an artist's own hand is another proposition entirely at auction.
As to value, have you any idea?
No.
Value? Well, I counted 160 approximately in here. And I feel that at auction they would make about 12 to 15,000 pounds as they are. So, not a bad discovery in the attic.
Before you go, a quick word that could save you from a costly mistake. Every week, treasures like the ones you just watched are sold at car boot and yard sales for pennies by people who simply didn't know what they had. Don't let that be you. With Velcro, just snap a photo of anything in your home, and in seconds you'll know what it really is and what it's really worth. And it's completely free. Point your phone's camera at the code on screen now, or search the App Store for Velcro, the VELQONO before you let it go.